Up everybody, we back again with another daily DCA because USD just ain't the way. Currently September 17th, 2025, sitting at block height 915,120. One Bitcoin will run you 115,620 dollars, and $1 will get you about 865 sats. Hash rate still looking healthy. The network, the security of the network is getting stronger. Average block time is still about 10 minutes. So everything on the network side still looking great. Nodes still looking good. Get out there, run your own node, become your own bank. All right, so if we look at our Z score, 2.33. So we're still hovering around these twos. We're gonna see which direction we take. We're gonna head towards the threes, or we're gonna head towards the ones. If we take a look at our floor, 200-week moving average slowly creeping up, 52,599, up a little bit from yesterday. If we take a look at our weekly RSI on the technicals on Bitcoin at 59. So we're kind of in between, overbought and a good median. You can kind of look at 50 as the middle, since 70 and above is considered overbought and 30 and below is considered oversold. So we've been pretty much consolidating since about May, maybe a little bit before then, since between about the middle of April up until now, if we're looking at the weekly. If we go take a look at BITI on the weekly, sitting at 37, still a great area to be accumulating. And if we take a look at the buys, this is how much was purchased. This is the total amount of Bitcoin accumulated over the 8 days. This is the value if we're converting it into USD. This is the total dollar amount that I've contributed so far. These are the prices that I bought in at. We've already seen our Z score. We've seen our weekly RSI, and we see that the floor is slowly creeping up. And then if we take a look at BITI, this is how much I've accumulated when I made my purchase. This is how much I got on the purchase. This is the value of the portfolio. This is the total amount contributed. Price bought in at today, and we just took a look at the weekly RSI. Here's a screenshot of all the order details. If we can see, go back to the Bitcoin screen. Everything is matching up. This is our execution price. This is how much Bitcoin was accumulated. That's what I have over there. If we take a look at the overall portfolio, its value is $7.93. This is the total amount of Bitcoin accumulated over the 8-day time frame. And then if we take a look at BITI, keep going down. This is the order execution, the amount invested, how many shares I was able to accumulate at what price. And if we take a look at the overall portfolio, go down a little bit more. This is what the portfolio is sitting at. The market value is $7.98. Average cost of $18.18, and this is the total amount of shares that I've accumulated in 8 days. Everything is lining up. Someone had asked me a question, as they were concerned about BITI and how much it's fallen since its adoption and things like that. So the purpose of me doing this video is, one, just to show you guys the power of consistently investing in Bitcoin, right? I'm doing it every day. For those of you out there, it's going to be different. Some of you are going to be daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, right? I would highly recommend take one of those approaches based on whatever works for your finances. This is money that you're investing. So you want to have 3 buckets, when it comes to your finances. You want to have your money that you invest. You want to have your money that you have as your emergency fund. And then you need to have your money that's your day-to-day. So, they're all pretty self-explanatory. Your day-to-day fund should be able to cover what it costs for you to live every single day. This is something that you should be working on with yourself and get in check, create a realistic budget for yourself. So this, and then you have your emergency fund that, you want to build up 6 months to a year. But, I'm a firm believer that, build that up as much as you can. The rule of thumb is 6 months to a year, but you want to constantly build that. And then you want to have what you're investing. So you're investing, whether it be, if you're a gold bug, whatever you invest in, that's supposed to be your forever money to get you out of the rat race. Because if you're just constantly living paycheck to paycheck, you're the perfect type of slave that they like for their system, right? If you're constantly just paying bills every month, you're not truly free, because you have to constantly give your time to keep paying bills, and you get further and further behind. So you have to have some type of discipline when it comes to your finances. You need to figure out the difference between your wants and your needs, and you need to focus more on your needs and kind of put your wants to the back burner. So the more that the more that you can increase what you invest, the more that you can increase what you put in your savings or your emergency fund, the more you can decrease your bills, the more that you can increase your income. You're buying your future self more time versus staying a slave to the system and doing the same thing over and over. Get up, go to work, go home, pay bills. Get up, go to work, go home, pay bills. So it's like life isn't meant to be that way. The system is designed perfectly how they want it to be. And, everything that they do contributes to that. All the advertisement, all the stuff that they put in front of us, the ease of access now of everything with streaming, social media, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Amazon. You don't have to leave your house these days to do anything. So like I said, where you want to park those funds, I'm just choosing BITI just to see what happens. So I would recommend looking into something else. Anything is better than just letting your money just sit, because if you go back and look at like the first or second video I did when I pulled up the chart of what the purchasing power is doing of the US dollar, is it's decreasing every single day. So your purchasing power is losing value if your money is just sitting. So gold might be the next best thing if you want to look into gold, or if you want to just put it in something and kick back, look into SPY. That's another ETF that's made up of the top companies in America that returns about 10 to 12% over the lifetime of that ETF. So there's a lot of other options that are way safer and can do a little something better than what a typical savings account, like a high yield savings account or any of that nonsense. So yeah, whatever you decide to do, like I said, that's up to you. As I'm doing this, the most important thing that I'm worried about is getting this number up, accumulating, right? The name of the game is get as much Bitcoin as you can. This part is just something I'm just experimenting with and seeing how it plays out in time. Like I said, if it goes off of my theory of trying to do my mass buy when we hit this Z-score of 0 or below, this BITI should be up. And as we see, we got a lot of room to run up. Even here on the weekly, we got some room to close that gap in about the $29 range. So I'm buying in at a great level. So we'll see how this plays out. But other than that, I'll catch you tomorrow.